Occasionally I catch crap from you people when some of you in the listening audience, when I address someone who's shacking up versus being married. And you think that I'm just being overly Bible-thumping or Christian or something like that. That could be true. I can be accused of those things, and that's fine. And be guilty. Guilty as charged. But why would that be? Why would I bother and intersect your life on a personal level like that when you're calling to ask me about something else? Because it's an economic problem. Really interesting article this week in The Federalist, Federalist.com, thefederalist.com, if you want to look up the article. The article says, the research proves the number one social justice imperative is marriage. I don't have time to go through the whole article, but this is just really intriguing research. It says just 70 years ago, social mobility and protection from poverty were largely a factor of employment. Those who had full-time work of any kind were seldom poor. 50 years ago, education marked the gulf separating the haves and the have-nots. For the last 20 years or more, though, marital status has increasingly become the central factor in whether our neighbors and their children rise above, remain, or descend into poverty. The research is astounding. In 1960, the poorly and moderately educated were only 10% less likely to be married than the college-educated, with both numbers quite high, 84 and 94% respectively. That parity largely held until the late 1970s, i.e. the sexual revolution, by the way. Professor Bill Galston, President Clinton's domestic policy advisor and now a senior fellow at Brookings, explained that in the early 1990s that an American need only to do three things to avoid living in poverty: graduate from high school, marry before having a child, and have that child after age 20. Only 8% of the people who do so, he reported, will be poor, while 79% who fail to do those all three will be poor. If you fail to do that, wait till after 20 to have kids, wait to have kids until after you're married and graduate from high school, you're 79% more likely to be in poverty. Only 8% who follow the sequence are in poverty. You want to do away with poverty? Get it in the right order. That's what the data shows. Graduate from high school, get married, have a kid after you're married, after 20. Those are the only things you got to do. And then you have a 92% likelihood you won't be in poverty. You have a 79% likelihood you will be in poverty if you don't do it in that order. That's amazing. Sociologists have referred to keeping these things in proper order as the success sequence. It remains true according to new research investigation from Brookings and the American Enterprise Institute. It takes a deeper look at the first comes love, then comes marriage sequence by class and by generation. A recent report on this topic, focusing on millennials, reports that 97% of those who follow the success sequence earn at least a high school diploma, work, and marry before having children, will not be poor as they enter their 30s. This is largely true for ethnic minorities and those who grew up in poor families. But sadly, fewer millennials are keeping these things in order compared to their boomer and Xer forebearers. By the way, if you don't know the statistics, sidebar, more people now live together that are not married than live together who are married. Yeah, if you're old enough to remember Leave It to Beaver, June and Ward Cleaver, they're dead. Okay? More people now shack up than not. Interesting. And the success sequence of First Comes Love is so much more than moral choice, according to this article, or romantic idealism. These are deeply pragmatic economic decisions powerfully affecting class mobility, where people live on the social scale and the opportunities they will be able to provide for their children. This is because of the extraordinary economic power of marriage. The consistent and irrefutable mountain of research has shown, reaching back to the 1970s and beyond, that marriage strongly boosts every important measure of well-being for children, women, and men. Pick any measure you can imagine. Overall physical and mental health, income, savings, employment, educational success, general life contentment, happiness, sexual satisfaction, even recovery from serious disease, healthy diet and exercise. Married people rate markedly and consistently better in each of these, and so many more compared to their single, divorced, and cohabitating peers. Thus, marriage is an essential active ingredient in improving one's overall life prospects, regardless of class, race, or educational status. That is why it's not merely one-parent versus two-parent families that make the difference. The U.S. Census Bureau finds that the poverty rate for children living in poverty with two unmarried cohabitating parents is similar to that of single mother homes, rather than those that were married mother and father. Married people, regardless of how much they have, tend to manage their money differently than divorced, single, and cohabitating people. This just goes on and on and on and on. Where is it? Only 4% of the homes with a married mother and father are on food stamps, but 21% of cohabitating and 28% of single mother homes require such public assistance. There's a high correlation between economically winning and getting married before having children, graduating from high school, and having children after 20. These are decisions. You get to decide. You're not a victim of your choices. You are a result of your choices. You get to decide these things. Decide these things. Here's another example. Did you know that you're statistically very likely to stay married if you're engaged at least 6 months? You want to add probability to stay married? Engage 6 months and make $50,000 a year household income or greater. Oh, add probability to that, 4 years of education. Oh, add probability to that, pre-marriage counseling in depth, not a drive-by 1 hour session with the preacher, but I'm talking about in-depth pre-marriage counseling where you talk about her mama. Yeah, you could change this. You can make decisions to change your whole direction of your family tree. This marriage thing is real. This is very interesting. Very interesting. TheFederalist.com, the research proves the number one social justice imperative is marriage. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button to get the latest content and check out these other great clips from the show.